somebody.
It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
We are back Wednesday evening, BS3 Network, BS3 Sports, Terry Brown, Vinny Hardy, another episode of Cats Talk Wednesday. TB, how we doing, man?
Doing fantastic. You know, it's Wednesday. You know how we do. I know we're going to jump right into it with some special guests, so let's get that going so we can get through that. They can do what they got to do, and we all can get ready for the Cats and the Sooners later on tonight.
9 o'clock start. Ain't had one of those in a while. But we'll discuss all that with our guests, friends of the show, been on with us before, fellow Harlan Countyans, Fleshly brothers. They co-host the Cats Chat Pod. Michael and Mark Lawson. Mark also does play-by-play for the Harlan County Black Bears. Gonna bring both guys in here right now because they got to go to church and then do their show as well. So,
yes, sir.
Welcome back, fellas. How we doing, Mike and Mark?
Doing good. Appreciate you having us on, man.
Yeah, man. We been a little bit, but I know the team was up at Rupp for the Vandy game and got to see Trent. Did you go, Mark and Mike? Or
I went. I was actually looking for tickets, and that morning I had to take my daughter out to babysit for somebody. The roads were bad in Harlan where it had snowed. And I just said, well, I'm not going to buy tickets. Well, I get a call from Coach Jones. He's like, hey, I got an extra ticket. I said, I'll be there. So I threw all my UK stuff, drove up and hung out with the team, got to talk to Trent, hug him, tell him I loved him, and then took off.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Terry, we've been talking for weeks. You've been saying it for weeks. I heard Damian Fishback on with Tom Leach the other day, and look, he played at Auburn. He's from Kentucky. Terry, he was basically saying the same stuff you've been saying for weeks about Trent. So just the two of you guys know him even better than we do. I would get back home to see games every chance I could, but, Mark, you're courtside every game. Mike, you're there as well. So to see what we've seen from him thus far, are y'all surprised? Or are you like, yeah, we knew if he had a chance, we could see this? Where are you guys at on everything?
Michael, I'll let you go first.
Okay, all right. I'll be honest. I mean, watching him in high school and what he could do, and of course, it's phenomenal to see him. He can score at will. Of course, as you guys probably seen at the state tournament up in Rupp Arena, the comeback that he had against the Camels, I think it was, being down so much and bringing the team back, and of course, the team effort with it as well. But even against Lyon County in that game, Lyon County tried to double, if not triple team Trent a lot, and he still was getting buckets. Of course, Harlan County had a hard time trying to contain Perry as far as guards and what was heavy with that as well. But I can't say that I wouldn't be surprised because a Harlan County person playing for UK and actually getting productive minutes with this as a freshman, I mean, we're all surprised by that part of it. But Trent as a person, man, he works harder than anyone. He's always in the gym. Mark and I, we've had him on the show a couple of times while he's in high school, and he's like, hey, man, it's 10 o'clock at night, but I'm in the gym shooting up my shots. Like, I don't care, maybe tomorrow. It's like, this kid is dedicated. And now you're seeing basically he's reaping what he sowed for so many years. But, I had actually a person talking to me yesterday who said, it's kind of crazy because Trent went from playing against Redbird last year to playing against the Louisville Cardinal Redbirds this year. So, yeah, to put it in perspective, like it's amazing that this kid is able to do what he's doing. And a lot of people, myself included, Terry, and hopefully you weren't this way, but I was worried about his defense as far as physicality and speed of playing against the guards or a forward as they haven't played. But since Pope's kind of transitioned left here, I'll keep talking though. I thought I glitched there, but at that 3 spot, I think he's gotten more comfortable with that. And he's got the physicalness that we can see. Like he's playing good defense, better than what a lot of people expected. So I think more time that he gets going with this, the more comfortable he'll get in the reps. I'll say this too, Mark, give you some time too. But one person talked to me at my job and was like, Trent's hurting himself. Last game he played a lot of minutes, he didn't score anything. And I was like, well, I get what you're saying, but Trent's not the first or the second option on the offense. He's maybe not even the third sometimes. Mm-hmm. But when he gets his looks, he's been pretty knocked down on his shot. So I think that's helping him, get those minutes and everything. So I think some people think that he should be scoring 20 already. But this guy is coming off the bench that wasn't playing many minutes at the beginning and still weaker than what we expected as far as coming into play at the college level. We expected him to be stronger, but he hasn't had the time to. And I think, man, when he gets to be a junior or senior, he's going to – I've said this comparison a lot. And he's going to be our Darius Miller when he was senior in 2012. That one calm and composure come through the middle, get that bucket that we need to just stop a run, say, hey, I'm the veteran, give me the ball to do this. So I'm excited to see him grow and watch him grow on this. But, yeah, I think everyone that had reserves on what he could do now are seeing this and like, okay, like he deserves the minutes he's earned.
I've known this young man for forever. I mean, just, worked beside his dad. Me and him taught next to each other. Like, even during COVID, when Trent was a freshman, his dad would still bring him to school, and, like, I would help him with his math. You know what I mean? Trent was that kind of worker, even in the classroom. That's what I even tell these kids. You see the same – you see a kid working hard in the classroom, they're going to bust their tail on the court. You know what I mean? It's just he's a hard worker. And one of the most humble kids you'll ever meet, too, just down to earth. He does have, and like he seems really quiet and reserved, but he does have that funny side when you get to know him a little bit. I remember asking his teammates last year, who's the one that's going to get you in trouble in the locker room? That's always like Trent, because Trent would do something sneaky and get them laughing. But like Michael said, he's in the gym constantly. And, his cousin Maddox is pretty much the same way. And I'm sure it frustrates them because they can't get other people to buy in and put in the work that they put in. And, I love the fact that Trent, when he is on the floor, you're getting 110% all the time. Like, that's the one thing I'll say about it. Sometimes he may lack in speed in certain areas, and that's one thing that's going to come as he learns and adjusts to play in the SEC. He was basically just thrown into the fire. Hadn't even played in an SEC game, and then bam, because of injuries, he's seeing more time. Mm-hmm. And it's something he's going to adjust to. And that, coming out of high school, that was the one area that I said – you look at Travis Perry and you look at Trent Noah when they play each other. Trent has a more physical size. He's got the body. Travis Perry has a little more speed, but they play two different positions. So it is what it is, because that was killing me when fans were all like, why are they playing this guy and this guy? I was like, guys, let the coach play people in the positions he wants to. I mean, quit. But I see a trust from Mark Pope and Trent, because I've seen Trent being in some critical situations like on defense, late in the game for foul shooting. And that's the little stuff he'll help you with. Trent's one of those guys, he's not going to go – in high school, he was the guy that would go get the bucket. Like, if we needed a bucket, he would go get it. Like, everybody knew, let's go down, let's isolate, get Trent one-on-one. He's going to score. Yep. You don't have to do that now. He gets to play a position where he can dish. And that's something I think a lot of people don't realize with Trent. He's so unselfish with the ball. Like, the same way he was in high school. He's going to look to – he tries to make his team better. And that's the kind of players I think you need on a team. And I'm not saying he's the next MJ. I mean, I'm just saying the kid he's a baller. And I told people from the get-go, and they acted like I was crazy. I was like, when he gets his opportunity, this young man is going to show people what he can do. And even after that game against Tennessee, I texted his dad and I said, I knew it. I said, I've been telling people when he gets his opportunities, he can shine. And Dondi was pumped, man.
Yeah.
Was that the Tennessee game where he hit that three from the first E in Tennessee?
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay. I think I texted Vinny. I said, oh, okay, Trent Noah, I was not familiar with your game, young man.
A lot of people think they don't have it, but they got right.
The moment just doesn't seem too big for him. I think we've been skewed as Kentucky fans on what freshmen are supposed to look like, right? Like, we've had really great freshmen that have hit the ground running. This is that progression that you're supposed to see, right? You're supposed to learn the first part of your freshman year. You're supposed to be kind of baptized by fire. You're supposed to give up that back cut. You're supposed to, be ball watching. But Trent, because of the injuries, this is just going to propel him to next year. He's going to be a major contributor. Yep. Where he was what 8, 9 man this year, 6, 7. I don't know what the roster is going to look like, but you can't keep him off the floor if he's going to keep progressing like this. Him and Perry both.
Yep. I agree.
And one thing that I like about Trent is, as far as his defense and offense, he's not making some of those dumb decisions on defense. If you actually watch just him, he's not excelling in locking someone down, but he's not giving up a backdoor cut like you're saying. He's always pointing fingers. If you ever watched him, he's pointing those fingers. Hey, you got that guy. Hey, this is going to switch here. Like, he's mentally ready for this game. And like you said, there's no moment too big for him. So that's what I like about him is the trust that Pope has in him. It's like, hey, I can put him in and get a couple breathers for my guys. And I'm not having to worry about that Chandler shot that he puts up or the Chandler pass that he makes where the Perry stumbles a pass to the big man and it gets stolen. Like, Trent does the right things. Now, like you said, freshman mistakes are going to come, but at least we're seeing him. He may not score 5,000 points, but he's not hurting you or giving up anything, and he's battling for everything.
Right. It's like the old coaches thing. Like, you may not put a lot of stuff on the table, but don't take a lot of stuff off the table either. Right. There's something to be said for, just giving the starters a little bit of breather. Like, there's something to be said for that. So I've been a Trent fan since we had him on last year, Vinny? Whatever that was.
Right before the state tournament, we had him on.
Yeah, but early in the season, one of those early games he played, some big 7-foot, I can't remember what game it was, Vinny, tried to back him down, and Trent was like, oh, is this what we're doing? And he banged him right back. And I was like, oh, okay. You can bang on somebody from Harlan if you want to, but that's not my recommendation.
Absolutely not.
A lot of people don't even realize, like, he had to play a big spot when he played for the high school. I mean, they've got him listed as 6'5", I think, for college. I'm 6'5", and Trent's taller than I am. Like, we've stood next to each other, took pictures. He's at least 6'6", maybe close to 6'7". So he grew up playing point guard, and now he's got the body where he can handle the ball, but he can body with you too. Because I even asked him after one of the 13th region games last year. He had to guard Jordan Mabe, player from South Laurel, who's a great candidate, like a very good basketball player. They've got a great team this year. And I asked Trent, I said, I noticed you having to guard him in the post. And he said, well, that's not something I had to do a lot growing up. He said, I've learned how to adjust, but he said, I was never really taught post defense. He said, I was always a guard. So I think him being in that 3 spot, man, is perfect for him.
Yeah. So did y'all get to, we talked about us having Trent on right before the state tournament, and here we are now. This season is almost over. We got, the district championship, got Bell County again Friday. Before we look ahead to that, did y'all get to reflect back? Because we had Coach Jones on, ask him, did you get a chance to just reflect and reminisce and think back on the run to the Sweet 16 that you had before this season started?
Let me go first, Mark, because you'll have so much more to say on this. Not being, I work a 9-to-5 job as a general manager to make the money, and then we do the podcast for fun, and one day maybe we'll make some money. So my availability to travel or go with anything was pretty limited as far as watching the Harlan counties. And honestly, I think Harlan County didn't even appreciate Trent and Maddox last year as much as we should until we see the 13th region games, and then all of a sudden, what did they do in Rupp Arena? Because we've had 2 or 3 teams in Harlan County that made it to Rupp, and they were first round exit. I think Harlan County once made it to the second round on a half-court shot by his cousin, Cameron. And, of course, so it was kind of, we hear this and we're like, okay, like they're good, but we don't know. But as soon as they won that second to last game and the tickets were already going on sale, I left work. I told everyone at work, since when you are the boss, you can kind of leave a little early. I said, guys, Harlan County's in it. I'm going. And everyone's like, yeah, get out of here. Like, why are you even still here? So my wife and the kids and I, we all took off straight up to Lexington. We ended up buying, I've got 5 tickets we had to buy. I ended up buying 10. I accidentally bought some in the wrong section and then bought some more. And I said, you know what? It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And what I enjoyed most is after we did lose, unfortunately, but afterwards, Harlan County High School actually had like a dedication ceremony for them where some people came and spoke, gave out some different things, some notifications for them, and just really thinking this really put Harlan County, almost brought us a little bit closer together from one another. It's what we forget about. Basketball has that so much power that brings counties together. We're a county with 24,000 people. We have I want to say it was 36% of poverty of Kentucky is in Harlan County. This was something that everyone could have a chance to say, wow, we've got something to look forward to. Now, of course, I'm not saying the poverty part make you all think that, we're doom and gloom down here. There's always great in every place. But basketball, it's the whole reason it's with the state of Kentucky like that is we love it and we're so passionate about it and we're good at it. So we like to focus on that and enjoy it. But Mark, he got to go up there and even call the games at Rupp Arena, which, I'm jealous of that. So I wanted to steal the thunder and go first. But Mark, I'm going to put it on mute and let you go now.
I mean, me and Josh going up there, we reflected on it. I said, man, I think about this. I think of Bill Ellis that called basketball games in Harlan County for years and years. And that's Josh's grandpa. And I said, of all the years that he called, he never got to come to Rupp and call a game. And I said, and here we are. Me and Josh, I've been doing it a little while longer than Josh has. And I said, we've not been doing it that long again. And I said, I actually looked over at him during the championship game. I said, I think we've peaked, man. I don't think it gets better than this calling a championship game at Rupp Arena. Because you just walk in the floor at Rupp, usually you're not allowed down there unless you got the little badges. And so we walk in, we're just kind of looking around. I even told the boys, thank you. Because I was like, that's an experience I probably, won't ever get to have again unless we make another run this year. And Harlan County is very capable of doing just that. This 13th region this year, man, it's loaded. And, I've been calling the 52nd district tournaments this week, and I'm telling you that last night between Harlan County and Harlan, it was a physical battle, man. They let them – I think they almost let them get too physical, and then they tried to clean it up, and everybody about fouled out. But Bell County is going to be a tough out. And I've told people this all season, Bell County is probably one of your top teams in the region. A lot of people just remember Harlan County because we went to state last year. But Bell County, they're good and they're young. They're pretty much only losing one guy off their starters from this year. But, we played them 3 times. The first time we played them, we were fully healthy. We got a win. That was at the 2A, going to the 2A state tournament. Played them again at Bell County. They beat us down there. One of our players had the flu. Then when they came to us, we passed the flu on. Maddox had the flu during the game at Harlan County that we lost by 2 on a last-second tip-in. So I said, I just want to see us fully healthy. And then Trenton Cole gets hurt last night. So I don't know if he can play Friday or not. He says he's going to play, but I don't know if the stitches on his eye will let him. So, yeah. It's just been, man, it's been a fabulous – I enjoy this so much. I love the kids. That's why I enjoy doing it. I told somebody, I said, that ain't a job when you love the kids. I hang out with them. I go out and eat with them. Coach Jones lets me come hang with them. And you grow a bond with the group after that.
Yeah. And even the network that you were able to get to, Mark. We had, of course, we made a connection with Cameron Mills, who come on our podcast a couple of times now. And that's because you were up there for this time. And then the Reds player that I can't remember, Doug Flynn. That's who got to meet him and talk with him. So it was an opportunity that just because of basketball in Harlan County that we've had more people that we can have on our own podcast too. So it's really neat for that part.
It makes it fun. Now, of course, Trent, last year was, number one guy to take away from the opposition. Maddox was probably 1A. Now Maddox has slid over to where, he's the guy everybody's trying to take away. He's the 13th region player of the year. He's committed to East Tennessee State. Just talk about his game and the type of year he's had and, his journey as well.
Man, that young man, he's a baller. It's in the blood. I think it's in the DNA. They balled out on Airport Road almost every day, it seems like, because he doesn't let the moment get to him. That's one thing with Maddox. Last year he was kind of like that 1A option, like you're saying. It was kind of – they knew Trent could go get a bucket, but you had Maddox back there as well. Maddox this year has really had to step up. And I think early on he was trying to put too much pressure on himself, but he kind of settled into that role and other people are starting to step up. And that's what's going to happen if Harlan County wants to make a run. The hard part, you're through that. You made it through that first round of 52nd district. So no matter what happens in the championship game, you're going to the regional tournament. Mm-hmm. And I'll be the first to tell you, there is not going to be an easy out at the 13th region tournament. Because if you look around the whole 13th region, every district, you're going to have Corbin and South coming out of one area. I think you're North, and who was the other one I said was coming out with North Laurel? I don't remember who it was. But
Knox Central, was it?
No, Knox Central and Pineville are in the same league, which they're both pretty good. Harlan County just beat Pineville. But I'm just saying, every team I could see beating another team. Just y'all know how it is. Basketball is basketball. If you don't show up, you're gonna get beat. And that's I told those boys, last night, even at Harlan, I said, guys, I walked into the locker room and I said, listen, I know you've beat them twice. And I said, I know you beat them fairly easily. I'm telling you, boys, stats are gone. I said, this is tournament. I said, they come in, knock down a couple shots, and they get some momentum, you could be in trouble. And they was like, we got you. And I said, okay. I said, because, you look at our girls. Nobody expected them to be Bell County.
Yes.
But they're a young team, kind of like Harlan is, and they have a short-term memory. They're not scared. They just go in and play.
Yeah.
And they beat Bell County, and people were like, what? And I said, listen, I told you all season long, they're young, but they're getting better. But back to Maddox. I'm sorry. I got off track.
No,
I could talk 13th region basketball all day, but Maddox is just a good kid too. I think that's why I can connect with him and Trent so much, because like if I see a great athlete and they have a bad attitude, I don't really want to associate with them. But Trent and Maddox are just two good kids. And Maddox has stepped into that role and he's carried it. Loves the Lord, always out there just talking about every interview. You hear him thanking God. He, talks about his teammates. He wants to get people involved. And, he's heading off to ETSU. Kind of glad he's going to be a little bit closer. I may be able to go down and catch a couple games there too. Mm-hmm. But I think they got a steal with him because the young man, he's a bucket. His range is at half court. He can pull up. Like a lot of times you'll see him take a shot and be like, oh, you don't need that. Okay, yeah, we do. You're just like, we'll take it. And but he's one of those, he can penetrate and then do the little one-legged leaner floater. And his little jump shot, man, if he gets extended, you can't defend it because he knows how to angle back to release the ball. And I saw kids last night getting frustrated with it. And I'm like, there's nothing you can do. The kid was defending him well. Maddox just has game. And I think he's really taken on this role well. And I think for Harlan County to make a run and make it back to state, he's just going to have to keep the foot on the gas the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just put the cape on and say, get on my back, kind of,
Yep.
For sure.
As for me, as far as watching Maddox, I watched him once. Mark actually had me to call a game with him in Millsboro, first game I ever done with him, and I was just in awe of him. Trent had a triple-double, I want to say, by halftime, and I was like, who's this Maddox kid? Because he could go left or right, and it looked like because he was, I want to say, a freshman at the time, but maybe a sophomore, but he was so much smaller size than everyone else that he had to fight to get to the open spots. I'm like, watch out for that kid. I think because he has to grind so much harder, he's going to develop more because of that. It's kind of the older brother. Little brother knows the tricks because he had to do it. Older brother's trying to block him constantly. So I really
speaking from experience now, aren't you?
That's what I'm saying there. You can ask more. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny because we have an older brother too, and the whole reason I had to learn to shoot outside is because they had no mercy. So absolutely. I was 6'5" and a big man, and I could hit outside because I couldn't shoot down low against them. They were 5 years older than me. They'd swap my stuff. They didn't care.
I was too stubborn. I would just jump straight into him and then try to correct and shoot a reverse or whatever. But with Maddox, I even told Mark once, I said, watch his game a little bit better. He's fighting. He's going left and going right. And Trent, it was a little easier for him. He just a couple hard dribbles and then just get the separation, shoot over the top of him. I was like, Maddox actually has a lot of weapons that he doesn't get noticed much because of Trent. And, of course, right now on, I think, 24/7 Sports, Maddox is I want to say, ranked 3-star, 88, whatever you want to say percent, but 88 as far as a rating, and number 3 in the state of Kentucky. I honestly think he possibly could have went somewhere else. It's just where Harlan County doesn't get noticed completely as much, and East Tennessee offered him. So, hey, I can play more right away. So, personally, I wouldn't doubt if Maddox has a good year at ETSU, and then some of these other major colleges looks at him and may try to do the transfer portal with him. So, Mark Holt, maybe come on down here to the Johnson City area. We'll cook for you here in Harlan on the way by, and we'll go check out the cousin there.
I think one area that Maddox gets overlooked on is his defense. He plays really good defense too. He's a lockdown defender. A lot of people, they want to talk about his shooting ability. The team as a whole, Harlan County shot 40% from 3 this year. That's kind of crazy for high school basketball, and it's hard to stop a team if they're hitting like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think this Bell County game, when Harlan County and Bell County play, me and Josh talked about it, I said I could see them splitting 5 and 5. You know what I mean? If you play 10 games, 5, they both shoot the ball so well.
Mm-hmm. So who you guys got coming up on the podcast? How's it been going? And tell everybody where they can listen before and listen and watch and all that, where you can check you guys out, man?
Well, right now I've got some kids, I think, going down the hall, getting ready to go to church, so it might get a little loud. I'll try to talk a little bit over them. But today's episode will be live up here at 8:35 p.m., just in a couple of hours after we get done with church, get back home and get everything set. My kids didn't take a shower, so we might be a little bit later than that 8:35. But, I'm trying to think, you shaking your head. We had someone, Dylan Ballard from AC of Blue, come on. He does a lot of photography and writes some articles for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually doing the live with us in the airport, flying back from Texas. We've had, of course, Georgia Amore on, who has had a phenomenal season. I wish we could have another season with her. We've had so many other. We've had Vinny Hardy on the show as well. We've reached the top on that Harlan County legend. So
Oh my goodness.
He says small town from Lynch, and I'm sitting there thinking we live in Putney. Like at least people know you are a tri-city. So
you had a school,
not even
man.
a city. So we're even smaller. I don't even think you would call us a town. That was a turn for Putney, and we're done. So it's really been fun for us because here in Eastern Kentucky, Vinny, we still live in Arlen, and just to think that we're able, because of the camera and the internet, be able to meet some of the people we have. And we've always tried to give God the glory with everything we do on this. And, we in the show talking about sports all the way, and then say, hey, one of our, I guess you could say, our ending is the three things we say most important is love God, love others, and love Kentucky sports. And then we wrap it up. We've actually prayed for people on our podcast. So some people's got in there and said, man, we've had this situation going on. We're like, I feel guilty if I'm going to say, I hate when people on Facebook say praying for you, and then sit that comment and you see like 5,000 praying. I feel guilty if I don't actually pray for it. So I was like, Mark, if you don't care, man, let's just do it. So we love to give God the glory of everything we do, and just the people we've met. It's been phenomenal. But again, I made all this to come back to 8:30 Eastern time p.m. Of course, you can find us on Twitter. We got it on Facebook, YouTube. We just pretty much anywhere you can find us. We got a podcast. I'm horrible at uploading the podcast. Once I do StreamYard, we're done. I'm like, oh wait, I got to do more. So I dropped about 5 episodes yesterday that we've had from December. So I apologize.
Hey, there you go.
And if anybody was following us before, we had to do a new Facebook. Our Facebook disappeared. We had a Facebook. It was Michael had created it with his old account when he had been hacked. I was an admin, but I didn't really have the rights to add people in or relieve people. I could just control it, connect it to StreamYard. Well, I went in to connect it to StreamYard one day and poof, it was gone. It was just, I don't know what happened to it. So we had to start from scratch there. Luckily, we did have most of our videos on YouTube, so they were on there as well. But I think one of my favorite interviews was Jasper. We got to interview Jasper Johnson.
Yes, Jasper Johnson.
We've been in talk with Caden Lewis. He's going to come on after the season. So I just like meeting these people, man, letting people know who they are.
Yeah.
Mark, I haven't told you this, but I'm in talks trying to get Maxwell to come back on. Maxwell Harrison Jr.
Hey, cool.
Reach out to him, and in communications, I just got to find an agent now. So I'm supposed to be getting in touch with that, just kind of talk about the NFL combine stuff going on. So.
Hey, we did get our first sponsor finally, too.
We did, so that's amazing for us.
Got us a sponsor from up in Lexington, Golden Flame Wings. So
all right, now
delicious.
Yeah,
there you go.
And Terry, I've got to say this. I'm so sorry. Do you need me to buy you a Cincinnati Reds hat?
Oh, my wife is a Cubs fan, but for the record, I got them all. I got all the LB caps because I'm a weirdo like that. So
you sound like me. I used to collect jerseys.
Yeah, next time you come on, I'll have the Reds hat because I do have.
There we go. Okay,
it's the black with the red bill and the red C. So
okay, all right.
I'm ready for baseball season, y'all. This was the HC's new baseball hats, and I liked them. So I was like, I need a white one. I don't have a white one.
Yes,
Ellie De La Cruz this year, MVP. Go Reds.
Hey, I'm not a Reds fan, but Terry Francona, man, he's probably
hired him. I was pumped, man. I was like,
he's responsible. He's gonna get you some wins just by himself being on the bench. That just as an upgrade at the manager spot. So, that's a good step for the Reds, and y'all should be excited. Ellie's exciting, and we'll see how it all comes together. But
man, we appreciate you guys having us on so much. So, man, I like just getting on here and talking about sports. I like anytime we make these kids look good, man, especially like Trent and Maddox. I love these kids, and I don't know. They're like, I tell them, once you're my kid in the classroom, you're my kid for life. So that's kind of how it always has been. So
absolutely. Hey, when does the the regional tournament start? It's still at Corbin at the Corbin Arena, right?
They're having the drawing on Monday. Or I'm sorry, they're having the drawing Saturday morning. Hold on, let me look right here real quick. I think it's, I want to say that first week of March, maybe March, like the week of like March 2nd or 1st through the 8th or something like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to get up there and take in the evening of it at some point. Thank you. So Harlan, try to get.
Well, if Harlan County is down there playing, you'll see me somewhere down there.
Yeah, I'll come holler at you if I can get up there and catch the black bears for sure.
Good.
For sure.
Guys,
fellas,
we'll definitely have to have you on our podcast next time, okay?
Hey, just holler at us, man. Appreciate y'all so much. Mark and Michael Lawson, Cats Chat Pod. We'll holler at y'all later, and we'll get y'all on again sometime. Thanks for hopping on this evening with us.
God bless.
Thanks, fellas.
Guys. Thank you.
It. So we got Oklahoma coming up in a couple of hours, TB. You got Otega Owe, who used to play for the Sooners. You got Jackson Robinson from the state of Oklahoma. Brandon Garrison from the state of Oklahoma, who used to play for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. So, yeah, you got guys with some ties to that state, and we'll see what happens with the Cats. You know, they're not ranked, but they played their best game the other night. They showed up and beat Mississippi State, and so now they gonna be feeling good and all that with Cats coming to town. So this league is a monster, man. Even the bad teams are tough. You know, South Carolina and the LSUs and the bottom feeders are still, you got to show up and beat them.
Yeah. You know, I think I speak for everybody in Big Blue Nation. Let's just get healthy.
Yes.
Right. You know, a couple of games, the Texas game kind of got away. But I just think let's just get healthy. Because per the numbers, when we're healthy and playing well, the eye test and the numbers say we're a pretty good team. And so having to play as many games as we had without any point guards, right, has just been, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Because everybody's now playing out of position, and it's just, you have to be a whole lot more creative with what you can do. But get healthy, get Butler back healthy. Absolutely. Back to the anybody can beat anyone. Look at Georgia versus Florida last night. Thank you, Christian, for that. What I watched last weekend is a documentary on HBO about the USA Select team that beat the Dream Team. And it's Duke heavy because Grant Hill produced it or whatever, right? Whatever. Wow. But it was talking about any team can beat any team. And, you know, there's all these conspiracy theories about did Chuck Daly want the Dream Team to lose and blah, 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 blah. But from the clips they showed and people talking, those young kids just came out giving them buckets. You know, Allen Houston was out there fired. It's got a lot of flavor to it, that Select team. Chris Webber, Eric Montross, Rodney Rogers, of course, Jamal Mashburn, Grant Hill, Bobby Hurley. Did I say Allen Houston? Might be missing somebody else. But it was one of those things. Anybody can beat anybody at one point in time. Now, the next day, after they won, the next day, I think Jamal Mashburn, who I love when he's talking about this kind of, he's a great interview. Apparently, Michael Jordan told Allen Houston, "You are not going to get the ball above your shoulders." And Jamal said he didn't. You know, and that was the clip. Rodney Rogers told Larry Bird he ain't scored since like the '88 finals or whatever, something like that. And that's when they got surgical with him. And like Bird was telling him what he's going to do. Fade right, left foot, off glass. Boom. Like,
oh, man.
You know, I was like, oh, and then Bobby Hurley, all the little zing, 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 zing. Oh no. We got Scottie Pippen for you. Like they locked him up, right? In offensive deep. But the point was, anytime, any place, you can lose if you don't take it serious.
Yeah.
Coach K tried to say, of course, Chuck Daly threw it to prove a point. Because his point was, did you see how Michael Jordan wasn't playing for a little bit? And Chris Webber's point was, yeah, but you still had everybody else. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, if you had Michael Jordan sitting, you still had Chris Mullin. It's like you still had these dudes, like you still had Clyde Drexler and all these dudes. So, my thing was, I think they legitimately, it got to the point where it was like, oh, we're going to lose. And they tried to turn it up, but they couldn't turn it up. And Daly was like, all right, that's enough. So, yes, I still view it as a legitimate loss. I wasn't there. But given the way they responded the second day, that's what you do after you lose to the college kids. That's my 2 cents. Because the way Jordan was talking, he's like, oh yeah, they kicked our butts. But the next day, it's a great documentary. I need to catch the Olympic one from this year. That's on Netflix that people are raving about. This was on HBO or Max, whatever it is. HBO Max. I'm an old person. But it was a good documentary. I love Mashburn, Allen Houston, Penny Hardaway. And I mean, you look at that select team, that was a really good squad. They ended up with like all NBA players too.
Yeah.
Not the dream team level, but Penny, what could have been without his injury, Grant Hill, what could have been, Rodney Rogers was a really good, solid pro. Allen Houston was a solid pro. Like, it wasn't a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't have the
little too much Christian Laettner.
Yeah.
A little too much Christian Laettner for me. Because of course, what they had to show. Thank you, Grant Hill, Christian Laettner. Yeah. And a lot of Bobby Hurley.
The obligatory, Bobby. But Bobby, did Bobby have like a motorcycle wreck like Jay Williams? Didn't he have some kind of accident?
Something similar, but he played, I think he played like 6 or 7 seasons, which isn't bad, right? I think we need to revamp what a bust is and all this kind of stuff. Like, if you make it and you hang around 6, 7, I think that's a pretty good career to me. But that was a good documentary. But the Cats need to bring it tonight. I think we need to get a full squad, get them rounded into shape and go from there. Same way on the women's side, talking about Georgia Amore, who in one season she's become a fan favorite.
Oh man.
And so I definitely want to see what the women are able to do as they finish up their season. It's crazy that we're 2 days away from March, 3 days away from March. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, Saturday is the first. So yeah.
Saturday is the first. It's March Madness, baby. It's crazy. Which another thing, I love me some Seth Davis. We need to stop pushing to expand the tournament. It just works, right? Like, it. And his thing is, well, we've expanded, we've added these many teams. I don't think you expand it because the very nature of the tournament, it's very random.
Yes.
Right? It's a very random thing, and I think adding one more round of games makes it even more random, and so you're not going to see great teams finish the deal because of the randomness, right? And I'm like, is that what you want? My argument would be, is the NCAA tournament, that's not what they want. Because if you remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when San Diego State and Miami and whoever it was made that Final Four. Guess what happened?
Yeah. People checked
Nobody watched. Nobody watched it. So the first weekend, people love the upsets. But after that, you got to have Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina to make this television product viable.
Mm-hmm.
And what you don't want is for CBS to pay all this money, and because of weird injury, like weird things, you can't have 3 or 4 tournaments in a row where it's, you know, the San Diego States and the Miamis and the Butlers and the George Masons. That all sounds good, right? But that's not really what we're here for.
Yeah.
Like that's not what we get for our champions, right? That's I just think it's a bad idea to expand it, because all you're going to do is let in more mediocre teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, we already got the play in and Dayton on Tuesday. And, you know, that was, we still don't even look at it as the real tournament. They still try to sell it as you make the tournament when you play on Tuesday. No. And
because you still don't have to turn in your bracket until Thursday at noon.
That's right.
That's how much those get. And look, and his point was, like, we remember Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue, right? We have seen teams going those play-in games and advance. That's great, but I don't know. I just think if you open up too much randomness, I just think that's bad.
Yeah. And now, I don't know. I'm one of those weird ones. 99 times out of 100, I'll still watch the Final Four, you know, even if Kentucky's not there, or even if it's a bunch of non-blue bloods and non-chalk teams, because, you know, I'm the guy that, hey, man, but look, the season is almost over. I mean, when you get to Final Four weekend, there's only 3 college basketball games left, so I'm going to try to watch them. But for the staying power, you do need heavy hitters to be in there to get the bulk of the viewership.
Because outside of the Super Bowl is a Super Bowl is a Super Bowl, right? It really doesn't matter if the game's good. It really doesn't matter who shows up.
Right.
Like, the Super Bowl is still the thing. But every other championship, the viewership is really dependent on the teams.
Yeah, because it could be the Browns, it could be the Browns and the Lions, and it's still going to be
right. And people are like, well, it's Super Bowl, or just, you know, Arizona and, you know, Jacksonville, or whatever. Like, 2 teams without. You'd be like, oh yeah, you're because it's the Super Bowl, right? You're still gonna get that done.
Yeah.
So, but everything else is so independent on who shows up, right? Which is why Lakers Celtics finals printing money.
Man.
And so, you know, people get upset like, oh, the NBA wants the Lakers and the Celtics, and yes, they do want them in the. Yes, absolutely. Why wouldn't you? Like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you hook up the SEC commissioner, the best case scenario for the SEC tournament on the men's side, Kentucky plays on Sunday. Right?
Yes.
That's the best case scenario. Because when Kentucky loses early, which we've seen the last few years, your championship game has a bunch of empty seats on CBS.
Yeah.
Right?
It does, yes.
I would wager that the mayor of Nashville and the Commerce Department and all those bars on Broadway, they want Kentucky, you know, at least make it to Sunday.
Yeah. Yes.
Because since we usually don't even start playing until Friday, you only get 3 really good days of Kentucky fans in town. So you want that. If they keep it at 100. Again, CBS, if you're the CBS TV executive people, like, your Final Four, you want Kentucky and Duke in it.
Yo.
If they had their druthers, Kentucky and Duke. Why? Because they still lead in viewership through the regular season. Top 10 games, it's usually 4 Kentucky games, 4 Duke games, a couple other games in there. But that's who people want to see.
Yo.
And so I just think if you water down the product, because my thing is it's just you open up that randomness, and I think you lose a little something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just kind of.
And they love to build those. Yeah, they love to build those storylines anyway, because as well as I'm sitting here, we're gonna be matched up at some point with St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll tell us with a straight face, no, it's not. How many times does Eastern Kentucky, West Kentucky make the tournament and have to play Kentucky in the first round?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Or Moorhead playing Louisville in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've seen brackets. I paid was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago, Iowa and Drake in the same bracket.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do, right? Like that's how they do that.
Yep.
Because it's a TV show.
Yeah.
You know, Louisville made the tournament after they fired Rick Pitino. Who did they play in that next tournament? Minnesota and Rick Pitino Jr.
That's right. That's right.
And so, my whole thing is don't pretend like we're dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it's 2014. This is the Kentucky team that everybody said was going to go 40-0. They made shirts about 40-0. We're going to bracket them up with Wichita State, the team that was actually undefeated at that point. Yeah. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? But that kind of stuff happens all the time. They say, like, well, we got the rule. It's a TV show.
Yes. A 3-week.
It is a TV show.
It's the stories for men, basically. I mean, and some men watch stories, but you keep up with it. There's subplots, and there's this, and there's that, and it's every week. It's like a soap opera for dudes, man.
It's all this intrigue, and it's why we kept getting Utah every year. Make good television, right? Like that stuff makes good TV. Mm-hmm. Once you understand it's a TV show, and these people are trying to make sure, one, people are watching on TV, and two, people are coming to the arenas. Crowning a champion, that's down on the list.
How weird does it even sound? But it's true.
Well, it's like we talk about with all these professional teams, winning a championship isn't on their radar.
Yeah.
It's making money and social imprint. Winning a championship is way down on the list for some of these teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just you just weird how to focus, where the focus is, or where the primary focus remains or shifts for a lot of them.
Like Nico, the general manager there in Dallas. Look, man, again, why do y'all think we're dumb? Anytime you see a trade like that, I knew lickety split, we're going to get stories about Luka, right? He too fat. And he drinking beer. The one picture I remember him drinking a beer was after he led the team to the finals. Y'all don't want to pay him a bunch of money. Fine. But we don't need all this. He's got a bad work ethic and we concerned. Man, them Europeans is different. Oh, he looking a little fat. Look, man, we have seen Jokic look the way he looks, play the way he played, and dominate for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like you cannot get caught up in, these physical tools. These dudes are hooping.
You can barely dunk. 7-1. You can barely dunk.
Yeah.
Had JR last week. He said his thought was that it was that apron talking. Dallas didn't want to pay all that apron money, and they tried to pass it off.
And since he said that apron, now all these other NBA people, it has ruined the NBA because nobody wants to pay all this money. Mm-hmm. So what do you got to do something? Yeah,
he's talking about my Rockets, and he's true. Şengün, you got Jalen Green coming up, Thompson. You got a nice little core, but for how long? Because you already paid Şengün, and you can't. There's no way you can afford them all. So enjoy what you got while you got it, because you ain't gonna have it long.
Right, so. And to me, when you talk about what's wrong with the NBA is you can't keep a core together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even just the matriculation of older players and things like, even if you want to, you can't.
Yeah.
That's the frustrating thing is if you're a diehard fan, you're a Rockets fan. It's been a minute since they've been near the top, and I'm not, but you're also in the back of your mind, like, I'm loving it now, but I know it's not going to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so the NBA is not built for any kind of continuity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you end up with a Steph if you're Golden State, and you can maybe, you throw Jimmy Butler together, but does Golden State really scare anybody this year or moving forward?
Mm-hmm.
Steph old, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Jimmy Butler is older than you think too.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure,
and so if you're an NBA, it's just hard to be all in because the core just doesn't stay together like it used to. Not even up like it did a few years ago.
Yeah. And when we grew up, love it or hate it, Bird, Mikhail Parrish, DJ, Cornbread Maxwell off the bench, Greg Kite, Kurt Rambis, AC Green, Kareem, Byron Scott, Michael Cooper, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Michael Thompson. I mean, and they were there every June, unless Ralph Sampson hits the tip in and the Lakers don't make it. And you watch the 30 for 30, the Lakers was pissed. It's like, man, Boston was like, man, we really wanted the Lakers. We beat Houston and won his championship, and we was wishing we could play LA.
Right. And that's the thing too, is teams, yes, you had like the stars, right? Your stars are going to stay. Like Milwaukee's going to do everything they can to keep Giannis, right? And whatever. But it was those role players, and I hate to say role players, that would endear themselves to the fans and teams as well, right? Yeah. Or, Mario Ellie in Houston, right? Oh, it was just a two finger. You're right.
It's death,
but you don't get that. You don't even get like the 7-second or less Suns. They wouldn't get those 3 seasons that they got anymore. You'd move off of them pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a little clip about the Run TMC Warriors. They had a couple of 3 seasons, but we're not even getting that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, this is our iteration, and we'll reconstruct next season. It's just, I don't know. That's part of the reason the NBA is hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
Part of it too is we've let nostalgia kind of ruin everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what I'm not going to listen to. I'm not going to listen to a bunch of hockey fans badmouth basketball, because they've been badmouthing basketball as long as I've been alive. I know I might step on some toes here. Craig Bates, our good friend, he's exempt. But I really am not a fan of the pick-me hockey players and hockey fans. Please like my sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime find out some hockey player, he was playing on a knee, his knee got amputated, and he just kept playing on it. This is why we're tough, man. Okay, good, great, whatever. I'm still not watching. Like you're and all the stuff that people are saying about the NBA, they've been saying as long as I've been watching. What have we always heard? They don't play defense. They don't care. I heard that in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
What do we hear now? They don't play defense and they don't care. It's the same old stuff. And I pointed this out. Have you seen the 1980 film Airplane? Are you familiar with?
Yeah.
But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar guest stars as his pilot, and there's a joke in there, and this is 1980.
Uh-huh.
Little boy comes up, hey, you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's like, no, I'm Roger Murdoch. Blah blah blah. He's finally, no, you're Kareem. My dad says you're lazy and don't play defense, and he grabs the kid and says, you tell your old man to drive Walton and Lanier up and down the court. It's the same thing people have been saying. But what has happened since that time? Since 1980, when the NBA finals were on tape delay, right? People kept saying the same thing. The league is they lazy. They're getting all this money to play a kid's game. They not tough. It's the same stuff, man. So I'm not listening. I know you saw that PK Subban, whatever, that hockey player, that clip made the thing. I stopped listening because the first sentence he said is, I haven't watched the NBA in 10 years. Then why am I listening to you talk about what's wrong with the NBA when your first statement is, I ain't even watched it? Okay, then whatever. The NBA is going to be fine. Like, I'm not worried about the NBA. The thing about the NBA is the NBA stars, I think, are bigger stars than any of the other sports.
Yeah.
Because part of it is, and I've said this before, basketball is an intimate game. The playing surface is smaller. People are just out there in tank tops and shorts, right? It's more accessible. Ball in a hoop. You don't need a bat or nothing else.
Yeah.
So it's a very intimate. So the basketball stars are the stars.
Yes.
Like, if you think about it, Tom Brady, great, 7 Super Bowl wins, blah, blah, but is he a star like LeBron is a star? Is Patrick Mahomes a star like Steph is a star? Right? Basketball lends itself to shoes, right? Because everybody else wearing cleats and all that kind of stuff. Basketball dominates the shoe game. Ask me how I know, because I got some Kobe 4s for Christmas. But all I'm saying is basketball star is just different. Because football, most of the time, I don't even know what some of these players look like. I told you, I went to the NFL Hall of Fame. Somebody said there's Jay Novacek. I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen Jay Novacek without his helmet. I just saw a tall white guy with a cowboy hat walk by, and I was like, if you say that's Jay Novacek, then it's Jay Novacek. I have no idea.
Right.
But don't feel bad. It wasn't until I think after that, I was like, you know what? I don't know what Brent Jones looks like off the top of my head, right? Like, so there's just a difference. We see basketball players. Like I said, it's just intimate. It's just a tank top and shorts. You know what their tattoos look like.
Yeah.
Right. You just know them on a different level than, I think. Don't even get me started about baseball. I think I could get a lineup with you, 5 different. I'm not trying to be racist, but 5 different white guys, and I'll be like, one of these guys is Mike Trout. Can you tell me who it is?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And Lord, hockey. Is that Wayne Gretzky? Is that what's the other guy? Other hockey guy? Like, but you see what I'm saying? So basketball stars are just bigger and brighter, and I think that's part of the animosity that some of these other sports have, is that basketball stars are just huge.
Always have been more marketable, always.
I mean, you probably got more people that know Robert Ory than Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
and that was, to me, always one of the coolest hockey names. That's a cool, but I don't remember what he looked like. There were some of those names were cool. Miroslav Shatan, Jaromir Jagr, but yeah, Sergei Fedorov, and Kenton, Patrick Waugh, Dominic Hasek. Those are the names from the 90s that I used to know. But
yeah, but that's the thing, right?
Jerome McGinley was the brother up there for Calgary.
Yeah, that's about it. So I think there's a lot of animosity to the NBA players. They make a lot of money, and they just naturally, they are the stars.
Yeah, it was just I don't know, and just the way it's packaged. I'm not a fan of this in-season tournaments and all this kind of stuff and the play-in game and all that, but just the way it's. You go to that '90s NBA, that classic NBA, the TNT commercial for the promos. Alonzo Mourning and the Hornets go to Atlanta to take on Dikembe Mutombo and the Hawks in a crucial Central Division battle. Whatever. You just remember. I don't know.
And I think it's because
Steve Smith for the Hawks. He wasn't even a super duper star, but we still know him.
Right.
Smith. Dennis Smith for the Orlando. 3D.
And we know these people, right? And I think a lot of it is the shoes and different things like that. For right or wrong, the NBA was heavily influenced by hip hop, and they kind of grew together as hip hop's global reach increased. So did the NBA, and we can debate, the merits of that. But I just think there's just a lot of animosity, and yeah. Are there some flaws with the NBA? Absolutely. There's flaws with all the sports.
Mm-hmm.
If I was the commissioner of all these sports, I'd fix a lot of stuff. I'm still not convinced that the baseball commissioner even likes baseball.
Yeah, and Silver kind of rubbed it off. Silver kind of challenged him a little too much to me with this little, I don't keep up with the playing game because I don't watch European soccer. I don't keep up with my stats that way to where we having stuff, wins and losses in the tournament within the season and then a playing game. If you weren't good enough to be the top 8 to make the playoffs, tough.
And again, the one thing about basketball is the impact that one person can have on a game, right? We have seen great quarterbacks get let down by bad offensive lines.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Have guys drop the ball. We've seen running backs, bad offensive lines, bad play call, things like that. But basketball is the one sport where one person can walk in and be like, yeah, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, and you can almost see it. Like last night, Luka against Dallas. I know you seen that picture. Luka staring at Nico. Points had to be made. And you can make a point in basketball that it really doesn't go anywhere else.
I think he really gonna kill him the first game back in Dallas.
Oh yeah.
When he goes back as April. Yeah. I hate both teams, CB. I pulled up y'all's schedule. Yeah. So I said, when do the Lakers go to Dallas? I was like, when? Oh, April 9th. Okay. I want to see it. I hate them both. But I'm watching that.
But there's those, you just know, okay, this like MJ, at some point he was going to give you 55 in Madison Square Garden at some point during the season.
Mm-hmm.
Again, points had to be made.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
Y'all kind of played with your food. Y'all should have probably blew him out more than you did. And I got to thinking, I'm like, Kyrie makes some of these layups that he normally misses. They should have had the lead. Kyrie had like 8-10 points of layups that he normally. It's hard for the rest of the world to make those, but Kyrie makes those in his sleep, and he was missing. Yep. And I'm like, well, Dallas has tied it 3 or 4 times, and look, love PJ. If he gives them anything, he missed every shot he took. No points. Yeah. 10 rebounds was great, but he was a donut on the points. So I think Luka might really want to. I didn't beat them bad enough. So when I go to Dallas, we're gonna put the hammer down. I don't care if they got AD or Gafford or what they got. We're gonna really set the tone in Dallas.
Well, yeah, like I told you, the Lakers and the Rockets are 4-5 right now. That's going to be a very interesting first round series if that comes to fruition.
We gotta get ourselves together. We still slumping a little bit, and I don't know. We gotta get out of this little funk we in.
Yeah, but I'm excited. Like, look, like what you want to like, and again, I haven't watched the NBA in 10 years, but I'm gonna tell you what's wrong. And people are like, yeah, I agree with this dude. He literally just said he hasn't watched it. How does he know what's wrong with it?
Yeah,
Which I think is a legitimate question to ask.
And why is he weighing in for? Is this a hockey show he's talking, or is he on the NBA segment? What is?
It was some on ESPN. Look, I don't even watch ESPN except for the games. I don't know what else goes on there.
Mm-hmm.
Once the sports reporters and outside the lines, and I just don't want to listen to hot takes. And that's all it is bad faith, hot takes. Because when the Lakers traded for Luka, I had to listen to Stephen A. Smith go on and on about how the Lakers are going to be terrible, blah, 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 blah. And then they won last night. Now he's like, oh, the Lakers are going to be favored to win the championship. Like, look, man, you ain't even got to be like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I get it. People, you have a platform, you say a bunch of stuff, but you ain't got to be hot takey about it.
Yeah.
So I just watched ESPN for the games. Sports Center ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, sure is.
You remember how it was in the 90s? You watch that same Sports Center from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, get the new one at 1, right? Because you couldn't wait. Your team had a big game. You couldn't wait because you knew, okay, 14 after, they're going to get to that game.
Yo.
Go watch highlights from my team. Or your team lost, be like, all right, I know to skip this. Skip this. It's just different. It's like we've talked about. NFL primetime was just perfect. That was NFL highlight perfection. Because we talk about being nostalgic for the past. You felt like the people actually cared about the sports they were covering.
Yo.
Like you can get whatever about Chris Berman's nicknames and were some of them whack. Yeah. Was his shtick a little old? Yeah. But
I still liked him though.
But you knew they cared about the games. The biggest problem with a lot of these sports is you've got these older players, these former players that just continue to tell you how bad it is. John Smoltz is like that for baseball, where I'm like, do you even enjoy this game? Right? The TNT crew inside the NBA, it's just an entertainment show. I'm not listening to anything they ain't breaking down no X's and O's. Every now and then Kenny will try to look, whatever. I'm not listening to any of that. It's just an entertainment show. But again, what is their main thing? This is a bad product. Why are you watching this? And I know I missed last week. We were talking about did you talk about the All-Star game?
A little bit. And that JR is on vacation, so he don't really watch it. That's his time to get away. But we didn't even the week before, we didn't even talk about it. That's to me says a lot. We had Michael Tillery on, been around the league forever. Yeah. We still didn't even mention it with him.
You can't have a 3-hour window and 40 minutes of actual basketball.
Yeah.
Who's this for?
You and I I think we were the last two on earth to defend the All-Star game. And I mean, we even just, like, to quote Cal, we had to let go of that rope, man. Me and you,
Because once I think with player movement, because that was, if you remember, when MLB did the interleague game, remember they brought that out the first go round, and that was great. And it didn't click. Maybe it was last year or before. I'm like, oh yeah, they still do it, but there's no pomp and circumstance because it happens. The Cubs are playing the Yankees, right? The Mets are playing the Angels. Like that, there's no. The Cubs and White Sox, I think, play every year now, and so it just takes that newness away.
Yeah.
Because with the NBA, again, those All-Star games, if you remember, again, the finals were tape delayed. The playoffs were tape delayed until 88, 89. Like we were almost teenagers before they stopped being off tape delay. So you were only getting so many games per week.
Yeah.
Where the All-Star game was really the only time you would see certain players. Depending on where you live, right?
Yeah.
Like, I always talk about Ray Allen. You forget about Ray Allen in Milwaukee. You forget about Ray Allen in Seattle to the All-Star game. He'd come in, hit 4 or 5, and you're like, oh, yeah, that dude is cold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mitch Richmond in Sacramento. Okay, yeah, I'd forget. It was a showcase because we didn't see these people. Now we see everything. They've all got podcasts. The newness is gone.
Yeah.
Right? They're more aligned with who their agents are than their teams. No judgment, but you're not going to get that hatred like you're talking about with the Celtics. Yes, we won the championship, but we really wanted the Lakers.
Yeah.
Right? There's not that kind of animosity like it used to be. And we can debate whether that's right or wrong. It just is. So the thing is, how do you get people to care?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then you got Chris Paul out here cheating the system at the skills challenge. That's
corrupting Wemby.
Yeah. I didn't even watch the dunk contest, man.
I think Kentucky was playing that night. Kentucky was on, and
yeah, I did. Yeah, I was watching the Kentucky game. Was that the Texas game? I can't remember.
I think so. We pulled it up on YouTube Sunday, and they had it all condensed, like in 30 minutes. We saw every single out of,
But even that has lost the aura because, as I keep saying, the dunk contest used to matter. And you would get you look at those 80s and 90s dunk contests, and it was the faces of the league. And now I know Matt McClung's won it 3 times in a row. I guess that's the thing. But like, I don't know these people.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying every winner was a household name. I mean, I remember D Brown. I looked it up. I didn't remember Harold Miner won it twice. I didn't know that. I knew Kenny Walker did, but if you're outside of Kentucky, how many people are really going to have Kenny Walker on the tip of their tongue? Right?
Yeah.
But
Malos won it.
Yes. And
Rick
all that.
Barry.
Yeah, and they canceled it for 3 years. But Kobe participated. And like I've been saying, the Jumpman logo, one of the most recognizable logos in the world, $1 billion, got started off that shot, that photo from Michael Jordan in the All-Star game, in the dunk contest. That's the cachet. It used to, but we can just say society, maybe we've moved on from that.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we used to know off the top of our head who the heavyweight champion of the world was.
Yeah.
Do you know right now? Do you know who the heavyweight champion of boxing is? Because I don't.
No.
Did we used to? Absolutely. Even if we weren't a boxing fan, it used to mean something.
Yeah.
Right. I will also say something like, I know that the Derby is still a big deal. It ain't like it used to be. You used to know those horses, but it just things change.
Yeah. Wow.
I couldn't tell you who won the Derby last year. Off the top of my head, I remember American Pharaoh winning the Triple Crown, and that's all of like 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
As a Kentuckian, I used to be able to just, this one won 91. Like I used to. It doesn't have the same cachet. And that's okay.
Yeah, I don't.
But part of it is because there's just so much to consume. There's just so much whatever to consume. Things aren't going to hit the same.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Because, Ja Morant to not do a dunk contest, LeBron to say he was going to and then not. That, I put some of that at his feet. Zion, when healthy, to not be in a dunk contest, even though he's been injury plagued, but to not be able to, you got Ja and Zion in a dunk contest. You mean to tell me nobody's not going to watch? I mean, that's not going to bring eyeballs to those two.
Was Dwight Howard the last kind of superstar to win it? I'd have to look off the top of my head. Because I know there was that good one between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine Levine. I'm not sure how to say that, but
I
they
think
had a
Gordon-
good one.
Yeah, Gordon got robbed. I think
Yeah.
he should have won once at some kind of way. Did Blake Griffin win one?
Yeah, he jumped over that Kia
That's
before
right.
Blake Griffin did.
Mhm.
But once it became so, you run out of ideas.
Mhm.
There's only but so much you can do.
Mhm.
That's the problem. And then you have, but the bigger problem is you got to have 5 dunks, and most people participating got 2, but they ain't got 5. And so you have to have some strategy with that. Because if you remember the one that Vince, it's over. I think it was like his third one was the dunk from was the pass from Tracy McGrady, boom. And then I think the next one he put his arm through. But you got to have these dunks ready to go and be able to do them. And these folks don't. They got 1, maybe 2, but you need 4 or 5 to build off that, right? That's how Dominique did it. Like, I got 3 or 4, boom, boom, boom.
That's why Sean Kemp never won it.
I'm on that, man. Boom, he hit you with a 50 out the gate, and then boom, maybe get another one, 45 or so.
Yeah,
and that was it. And then he was like, he would never make it to that final because he's like, he came with the fire too quick.
He punched himself out. He ropeed up himself.
Yes. You got to come again. I mean, there's strategy to that. You got to, all right, this is going to get me to the next round.
Oh.
Then when you almost have to do that big one before the final.
Yeah. To ensure you get there.
Yeah, you do that big one for the final because that's what Vince did, right? Then you got the oohs and the ahs because then you don't have to be quite as spectacular, but people still, that was the thing about Vince. He had that entire arena
in his hand.
And Dominique got robbed on the one in Chicago. We can all talk about that. But, hey, people talk about this, the Zach one with Aaron Gordon. I'm like, okay, y'all a bunch of kids, because for my money, and this is nostalgia talking, it ain't better than Dominique and MJ going back and forth. Like that to me. That was the peak performance for me. When it's those two, the human highlight film and Air, like, and that's what I want to tell somebody to be like, MJ did it, but y'all too cool.
And he missed from the foul line the first time, and Bob Neal, who we had on this show, said it. They gave Jordan 50. They gave him a 50. Emphasis on gave. And then you had Larry Bird in the 3-point contest with the warm-up on. That was all in 8. That's all in one All-Star Saturday night.
Yeah. So
who coming in second?
So I don't know. How do you fix it? Just give us a game. Just play it. If it's a shortened game, just give us a regulation game. Like, okay, whatever. Chop it down to 2 hours. Give us a game. Look, I can only take Kevin Hart in small doses.
Yeah,
I don't need a whole lot of Kevin Hart. I've been trying to avoid knowing who this Mr. Beast is forever and ever, because that's for kids. That ain't for me.
Yeah. Again,
who are these changes for?
My sons know about him. Yep. Are they on YouTube like that? Yep. Because they trying to do their little channels and got their little stuff, and so they went to Zaxby's and got his chicken combo and all that.
Yeah. So that stuff ain't for me. I was hanging out with my youngest last weekend, 2 weeks ago, and look, I understand now. I'm 50. Like, I think I'm gonna be 47, 48 this year. I can't keep track. I have to do too much. I'm like 77. I don't know. I just been saying 50, and I realize this ain't for me. All this young people stuff ain't for me. It was at the 18 to 49 demographic. We almost out of that.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I know. But this pop music, this ain't for me. It ain't for, and that's fine. I try to watch a little bit of the Grammys. I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah.
All the people I know about, they get their awards not televised. we gave out the old R&B awards, and I'm like, yep. There you go. I know that.
Oh man, yeah. It's where we are, man. It's where we are.
Yeah.
So you had
my oldest.
Yes. How many games into the season are they?
They're 2. They're 1-1.
Okay.
They won 10-7 on Saturday, and they lost 17-5 today. And sometimes it be like that. Sometimes you the hammer, sometimes you the nail, and you know.
Yeah. So,
but I can watch it on. I watch it on YouTube, and my thing is, I'm just watching the body language. Stay engaged. Stay with it. Don't play to the scoreboard. You know, that's my 2 cents on that. Is just keep going. But pretty excited. They got their first road trip coming up next week. So
there we go.
So excited about that. And next week, the youngest is running in the indoor state track championships.
Nice.
4x200 team. They are, I think, 11th, 12th fastest time. So they're going to try to do something with that. So hey,
nice.
Got my chest poked out, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff.
Again, I don't know where they get this athletic talent. You know, I look good, but I was a grinder. I just wrestled. That was my claim. That was my claim to fame. Like all this other stuff, the running and jumping. I don't know where they get that from.
Traced on back to past generations or something. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, though. That's awesome. And then pretty soon it'll be warm enough for you to be on the YouTube stream for Sarah's games when it's, I don't know, 65 degrees. You're gonna be there in person.
It was 50 something today up there. So I'm gonna get up there because I got a road trip. But I'm gonna get up there so I can see it in person, so I can sit there and cheer. That's why I stress cleaned on Saturday. I was working today, so I'm trying to do my job. Got my phone with YouTube, and I'm just, yeah. But hey, man, because everybody knows I nervous clean during Kentucky games. I nervous clean during my baby's game.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a different sensation, man. It's crazy. I don't know how these parents do it at the Super Bowl. Like I don't know how you do it, you know, as they move up like that. Teach me the way Mama Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes the first, and like I don't know, man. But some of that stuff is beautiful, you know, like when baseball comes up. And you know, a player gets a first home run, and they got the mom and dad in the state. I love that, and the dad holding in all this emotion, and it's great, man. Like you and I have talked on here and all offline. Hey, when your kids do something, that's different, man. When they putting the work in to achieve their dreams, that's something different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I can't wait. Get my shirt. I'll be in there cheered in the field.
Absolutely, man. Good stuff. So appreciate the updates and everybody getting to see what you post when you post as the ups and downs and game in and game out of her season unfolds. So yeah, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, but I told her, like we were talking about Trent, I was like, you got to put the work in. Right? Like high school, okay, but at this next level, even at, you know, it's not Division I, but you got to put the work in. Like you got to love what you do. You got to love your craft. Right? You got to put that work in. So you know, she kind of thought she's gonna be able to take it easy. Since he's close to Chicago, she's gonna be able to go to Chicago for this and that. But I'm like, you got to put that work in, You got to go over there and do those extra drills on top of your schoolwork, right? You got to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to love it.
That's it. Another fun show. Get off of here and I'll take a little power nap before this 9 o'clock game right quick.
That's what I love about the Central Time Zone. Not quite as late.
Hey, that's it. Hey. So good for you. 8 o'clock tip for you, so that's nice.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. I'm gonna rest my eyes real quick, as our grandparents used to say.
Don't rest them and then wake up at halftime.
That's right. Set an alarm for like, I don't know, 8:40 or something like that. That way I can
there you go.
But, fun stuff, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
That Aurora University shirt looks good. Appreciate that. Congrats to Sarah, not Big Miss. And appreciate Mark and Michael Lawson for hopping on. Check them out at the Cats Chat Pod, and we'll check the Cats out. I'll flip back and forth, see what the Rockets doing, because they're on national TV tonight for the first time in a while. So commercials of Kentucky, flip and watch the Rockets and the Spurs, and just jump back and forth. It'll be that kind of evening. But we'll be back next week. BS3 Network, Cats Talk Wednesday. Terry T.B. Brown and Vinny Hardy, and we will catch y'all a week from now. March Madness it'll be. So we'll see y'all then.
Yes, sir. Take care.